Good evening, everyone. Thanks very much for joining us on the call today. First of all, just to introduce myself, my name is Phil Campen. I'm a Wicklow Hurling GDA, and I'm also joined on the call by Paul Garrigan, who's a GDA on the football side of things and also looks after the coach education within the county. First of all, just to run through a few quick things, just to make sure that your cameras and microphones are turned off for the session, just to stop the background interference and stuff. The session may be recorded and shared. And then also, if you have any questions, please use the chat function throughout the presentation. Also, due to the nature of the presentation, glitches may occur. That's just due to the internet and stuff like that. So if you're having any issues, just maybe log out and log back in, and it should sort you out. Okay. So again, look, the presentation should probably take about 40-45 minutes. And say it's all about the TURAS. TURAS initiative done by Leinster GEA. And it's all about supporting you, the coaches, in your journey through coaching. So again, look, it's helping to understand how to deliver age-appropriate activities for the 7 to 9 year old tonight. So basically, your goal games there, your goal game stage. So we'll be looking at various different things throughout the presentation. Some of the outcomes I would be looking to cover is explain the player pathway, why we have it, explain the TURAS principles as well. Again, which is the whole idea of the presentation itself. And then also to talk about the total playing performance model and the coaching resources, which hopefully will help you throughout the 2021 season when we get back up and running. So they're kind of the four main areas that we're going to look at today, and hopefully we'll be able to come up with a few things that will help you throughout the year. So moving on then to the player pathway. So the player pathway is a stage approach that maps the player's journey. It's a guide for you, the coaches, to deliver what is needed and when it's needed, and a clear understanding of where a player currently is and where they're heading. So again, if you draw your attention there to the right hand side of the screen, you'll see this kind of upward curve, and it kind of pinpoints various ages throughout a player's journey. So again, look, they might start in around 4 or 6 years old. They might come into a nursery, learn the basics of movement, and then they might progress to yourselves, which is the 7s and 9s. So again, you know where they are. They're early on in the stage, so they're going to have various different needs. So they're going to look at kind of learning the basic skills of the game. Again, it kind of lets you know what you need to deliver to the player and what you expect the player to know at that age group. Okay, and again, look, for all of us coaches, our aim is to get them into their adult playing career. So again, it all starts with us at the bottom end of it. So TURAS principles focus on how to coach and what to coach. So like I said at the start, this is an initiative that Leinster have designed maybe 2-3 years ago. And again, look, it's broken down into an anagram. So as you can see there, TURAS, each letter is indicating various different things. So the first one is our testing and challenging. All players should be challenged. Understand the players at the centre of the game and resembles the game. It also has all players involved all of the time and should always be involved, developmentally appropriate and holistic GEA experience. So again, you're probably just looking at the word TURAS there going, why is this relatable to me? This could be a really, really useful tool for any coach that is beginning to coach, especially. So if you have a session with an under 7 group tomorrow night at 7:30, you can go use your TURAS to go, right, my first warm up or my first drill, is it going to be testing, is it going to be challenging for that group of players? Okay, then you also have to look at the drill itself or the game itself. Is it appropriate? Is it what those kids need at that age group? Okay, so if you go down to a pitch and you set up a big mad drill that you saw the under 16s or the minor team doing, expect a 7 or a 9 year old to do it, it's just not going to work. Then you have to make sure it resembles the game. So again, resembling the game doesn't mean that you're going down and you're mimicking a 15v15 game. This can be talking about their various different movements, their basic skills of the game. So again, make sure it relates back to the game that they're going to be playing, especially if it likes the go games and later on in their playing career. And again, make sure all players are involved. So there's no point going down and having big, massive, long queues and only 4 or 5 people are using the ball at a time. Try to have as much people involved all the time as possible. And then also look, make sure that it's enjoyable. At the end of the day, if you don't make a session enjoyable, kids just won't come back to the session, or they won't come back to the pitch. And I think at the end of the day, we need to keep our kids in the pitches. So that's kind of just the TURAS and how it can be used, and also we'll show you later on the various different aspects of TURAS which will help you. So first of all, I just want to give you 30 seconds just to think. You don't need to throw this into the group chat or anything like that, but I just want you to think of what can we as coaches develop in our players. So just 30 seconds, just have a quick think. You don't need to throw it into the chat, like I said. It's just kind of for your own thoughts. So just give you a quick 30 seconds. Perfect. So following on kind of from that, we're going to look at the total playing performance model and how it's made up of 3Ts and 3Ps and what those mean and what they stand for, and also how you, the coach, can use them. And again, this is all relate back to our TURAS initiative and cards at the end of it. So hopefully, if you just bear with me for the next few minutes, you'll see how it all comes together at the end. So you can see, we're going to focus about our technical proficiency first. So again, this is the ability to perform underlying techniques accurately, consistently at match tempo. So for example, it could be just striking, handling, ball control, tackle. So again, look for the under 7s and under 9s. You're going to be looking at maybe a ground strike. You could be just looking at maybe just a passing, your catching techniques, going back to stuff like that. So again, just relating back to making it relatable back to the players. It understands your players, resembles the game. Tactical prowess is the ability to weigh up match situations to decide on the best option to take when in order to optimize time, space, scores, and minimize these. So again, look, you're not going to be looking at another 7, under 9 and expect them to score from 20, 30 yards out all the time. This is about encouraging the players to move into the space. Don't all just follow the ball. Look for your players, okay? Getting them to think about movements more so than actually the scoring and the defending and stuff like that, and getting them to understand the likes of their position. So if I'm a back, I have to be this end of the pitch hitting the ball that way. If I'm a forward, I'm obviously shooting this way and I'm trying to put the ball there in that area. So you're giving them different little goals that they have to use at their different stages. So team play, the ability to anticipate movements, see other players, and calling for the ball. So again, when you look back to under 7s and under 9s, you might be using the likes of your zones, your modified rules, and small-sided games. So you're not going to go down and play, like I mentioned earlier on, your 10v10 or 11v11 big-sided matches. You're going to try and make those as small-sided games as possible. And again, we're only starting off at this age. We might have to look at using our zones. So dividing your pitch into 4 areas, dividing your pitch into 3 areas, whatever it may be, putting your backs in this side and of one team and so forth, laying it out so they are getting an understanding of the actual pitch, the size of the pitch, what way they should be shooting. They're looking at their teams, and then again you can modify the rules, so it might only be ground hurling, it might only be goals only, stuff like that. So that's kind of where the team play comes in, which is our 3Ts that we covered so far. Then we're moving on to our 3Ps again, which is physical fitness, the ability to perform basic techniques and gauge a physical contest and respond to signs, sound signals experienced during the game with the least possible expenditure of energy. So again, how does this all relate back to the 7s and 9s? This is going back to your core, the core ABCs, your running, your throwing, your jumping, all these little small movements that they've started off with their nursery, they've got to be continued, especially under 7 and under 9. Again, look, this can be done through your warm-ups. This can be done through a fun game throughout your session. So like your agility, done through tag games, coordination, might be just bouncing a ball in a hurl, might be throwing it up and catching it, so they're using their hand-eye coordination. The simple things of running and stopping, going left, going right. Again, throwing if they're using their underarm, they're developing their skill to do the hand pass later on. And then obviously they're jumping, which we'll need later on again when they come to being able to do the overhead catch. So again, physical fitness is just not about going down and running lads around the place and this, that, and the other. Again, we have to relate it back to our TURAS, and we have to understand the players that we're engaging with, and also we have to make it challenging enough. Okay, so again, moving on to our next one, which is our participant feedback. Participant feedback is a two-way communication process which allows ongoing adjustments to be made in order to capitalize on strengths, minimize limitations, and maintain continuous improvement. You're probably reading that and looking at it going, well, how do I get feedback from a 7 or 9-year-old? As I said, they're not going to give you honest feedback, and they're not going to give you a load of feedback either at the one time. So again, this relates back to outcomes, their emotions, their verbals. You'll know if your players are enjoying it. Again, look, a simple thing as a smile when they're performing various different activities. That'll tell you a lot about your session and how it's going, and whether it's challenging for them. Maybe it's too challenging. Maybe it's not challenging enough. Maybe the drill might be too hard. All that is how you're judging your participant feedback. Then psychological focus, the ability to maintain attention on the here and now by minimizing disruptions from within or without. So again, look, you're dealing with 7s and 9-year-olds. The ability to maintain attention for them is going to be very, very tough. And like anything in life, if you spend more time talking, the less time they're going to spend listening. So again, look, this is going to look back at the examples of trigger words, which is imaginary. So any kid that's 7 or 9, they're going to be in the pitch and they're going to be thinking of themselves, they're a county player, playing in the Crow Parks, playing in the big venues. So why not give them a few minutes at the start of training to do that? Let them explore different things. I guarantee you they're going to try different aspects of the game that you might not be able to do them. Trigger words using like your good job, even the likes of a whistle. If they respond to a whistle each time, that's how you keep their attention. That's how you maintain the psychological focus. Perfect. So we're after going through our 3 T's and 3 P's, and there's a lot of words, and there's a lot of this, that, and the other after being thrown at you. This is where we start bringing it all together, and this is how we start building the player at under 7 and under 9. So with the TURAS initiative, they're after developing the playing cards, which will be circulated to you tomorrow via email and stuff like that. So if you look at, we're after covering one side of the pie already, which is our tactical skills. Then we're going to look at our tactical prowess, so technical skills, sorry, and tactical prowess. Then you're going to make up your physical fitness and also looking at your team play. All 4 aspects of the pie, which are pretty important. Along with that, then you have your your psychological focus. Underneath that, then is your participant feedback, and obviously we have our other things. So what does that all look like for a 7 and 9-year-old? This is what the actual playing cards are going to be like. This is what you can use as your template going down to a pitch each night to design your session. So as you can see, we have it laid out with our 3 T's and our 3 P's. And we also have our 4 aspects in the corner, which is the coach, the environment, the game, and the player. So as the coach, we'll start off there. As the coach, we need you to start looking at variation. You're open to trial and error. When you go down to a pitch, be willing to try something new. You'll know straight away if it's going to go well and if it's not going to go well. If it's not going well and you might just have to tweak something, maybe that's what you might tweak for the next session. Make sure you're well organized and your sessions are planned. This is really, really key. The more you're organized, the better. There's no point in going down to a pitch for a session at 6:30 and you're arriving down at 25 past and you're looking for equipment. You have nothing planned or nothing set up. Kids are coming in the gate. Straight away, you're on the back foot. You're going to get flustered. Maximize all coaching resources to increase your knowledge. So again, like I said, we have a load of resources here at the end that we're able to go through for everyone, and we'll share those throughout. Again, really, really important. Guide the children. Don't tell them. Okay, just guide them. If you're looking at the person doing a roll lift or they might be doing a strike in action, rather than telling them how to do it, ask them in a way, maybe, or talk to them in a way where you're suggesting they try something. Okay, you might just get a small bit more feedback. Be a role model is going to be a big one on the coach's behalf. Go down maybe wearing the club top. Be on time. All that will feed back then to the kids. They'll want to be like the person that's coaching them. Okay. and convey enthusiasm. Always be up for it. Always have the smile on their face, and always be encouraging them all the way along. Then, if you look down just to the bottom left of the card itself, you'll see the player. And the one thing we need to do is understand the player. Okay, so it's relating back to our TURAS principles again, understanding the players at the centre of the game. So the player sevens and nine will only go flat out. They have no sense of pace. They're always going to be running. They're always going to be doing things 100 miles an hour. If you ask them to do a jog around the corner, they're probably going to sprint it the hardest. Then again, they need approval from coaches and parents. Okay, so again, just let them know that they need approval for you if they need to go anywhere, or they need to go to the bathroom and stuff like that. They like to show off individual skills. So again, if you want to combat this or help them learn even more, give them the 5 minutes at the start of a session. Let them do various different aspects with a sliotar that they want to do. Just have it monitored, have it guided by the rest of your coaches, have them broken down into their little groups if they need to. Again, look, small group activities are vital for improvement. So again, if we know that there's 6 people that may need extra work, or they may need a small bit more help in developing some of the skills, why not put them in 6 groups and tailor your activities to their needs? And if there's people that may be a little bit stronger, why not have them in their other group, and then you can tailor the needs, or tailor your sessions and your skills to their needs. That way you're ensuring all players are getting vital improvements throughout their sessions. And again, like we talked about before, they like to imagine themselves in inter-county players to improve skills. So if they see Joel Hannon putting the ball down and he sidelines it over the bar, they're going to want to do that. Or they see someone scoring the goal, they want to be that person. They want to do that thing. They want to be the person doing the scoring. So allow them to do it as well. Let them imagine those little bits and pieces. Again, this is going to relate back to you, the coach, is creating the environment. Fun is the number one priority. Make sure all the kids come down, they have fun. That they're not just going down, they're doing this, doing that, no smiles on the faces, and next thing they go off, or else they're getting bored. Okay, so make sure you're making everything fun, they're always involved. Again, look, coach to player ratio, 1:8. So if that goes back to making your small activities, make sure you have one coach per 8 players as best you can. Again, be sensitive to each player's development needs, like we spoke about earlier on. If that means you need to do the group sessions, by all means, make sure you do it. Discovery and exploration. So again, let them have that 5 minutes either before or after the session with a ball where they're able to do their own little bits and pieces. And then always remember, even from a coach's point of view, when it comes to goal games and also for the players' point of view, it's really important to reiterate that actual game results are secondary. Okay, when it does come to the game, you'll see in the bottom side, they're small-sided games. Okay, so we're not looking for big, massive games where it's huge numbers against huge numbers. Okay, try keep it as low as you can, the 4v4, the 6v6 as best you can, 7v7. Again, we mentioned it earlier on, we were talking to our 3Ts and 3Ps. Zones can be used to stop bunching of players. So if you split your team or split your game into zones, or your pitch into zones, you can put X number of people in a certain zone and say they have to use that zone for this length of time. And by all means, you can also swap them around after so many minutes if you want. Again, player of foul takes the free, allow all the kids to have a chance to take the free and developing that skill itself. Allow players to sample all positions. What you'll probably find out 7 and 9 is a lot of them who want to be in the goal because they get the chance to hit the ball out. But allow everyone to have a chance in goal. Allow everyone to be a back, allow everyone to be a forward as best as you can. Simple thing is, you could time, maybe if you're doing a small little game at the end, why not time 5 minutes, 6 minutes, 7 minutes, whatever it may be, and rotate positions then after 7 or 8 minutes. Make sure every child has their own ball at home, playing against the wall with a friend, with a group of friends, whatever that may be. And again, the other thing, just to make sure they all have their own equipment. So they're kind of the external factors as such, and the various different impacts that you, the coach, can create on the 7 to 9-year-old player. When it comes to the likes of the technical skills, then you can see, like, to tackle the likes of the handling. So you're looking at grip, ready, lock, swing. You know which hand should be on top of the hurl, They know how far they need to bring their hands up when they're striking it, up to ear height. They're getting used to catching, so this can be simple throwing and catching games you can do, making them jump high, making it take it in their chest and low, encouraging to create the claw for the hand to catch it. Then you can look at your striking. You'll be looking at ground strike, maybe getting it from 8-10 meters, left and right, both sides. Ball control, so that could be just your dribble in between the cones. You're looking at tackle, getting them used to the tackle that they're going to anticipate when it comes to playing various different teams. Then just to explain a bit more on your tactical prowess, going on from earlier on, is your decision making, encouraging them all to move into space. Okay, like we said, getting them to move off the spot, getting them to look for players that are in better positions. Then your physical fitness, like you mentioned, is your running, your jumping, agility, body resistance. That can be all just animal movements. All this stuff would help strengthen throughout the year as they go along. That's basically just one side of your card. As you can see on the left again, then we have our player pathway that we mentioned earlier on. And if you were to look at a ladder, these kids are on the second set of the ladder, and that's our job as coaches to get them to the next level and get them ready for the 10 to 11 year age. So again, this is kind of maybe on the back of this card, which is another sample session. So it's kind of a resource that you will be getting, like I mentioned earlier on. And what you can do is maybe take just a second or two and maybe think, are all these activities relating back to the TURAS Principles, which are on the left? So if you just have 30 seconds, just see or have a look and think, are these testing? Do they understand the player's needs? Does it resemble the game? Are all the players involved? And obviously we won't know if it's enjoyable because we can't see it in practice, but would it be enjoyable? So just take 30 seconds, just have a quick read through there and see what you think yourselves. So again, if we look at our warm-up activity, or even our second game-based activity there, if it's testing and challenge, by all means it is. As you see, it's 4v3 or whatever the number may be in the circle, trying to get all those stitters out of it. So it's testing for those three in the middle to keep on top of that. It does resemble a game because we'll have to try and get ball into different spaces. It understands the players' needs because it's just simple little game for them at that age. So again, you can see if you read through once you get the resources again, how TURAS is applied to this session and how you can use TURAS itself to apply it to your sessions. Perfect. So this is another kind of resource that we've developed here with Wicklow GEA throughout last year. Again, this has 7 different sessions in it, and I think the last session itself is a skill session. So it's kind of a skill test that you can test your players and see how they go on maybe at the start of the year compared to the end of the year. Within this, we focus on kind of different excuse me, we focus on different activities in each one. So after under 7, you can see there, look, this one is done for the hand pass. You have a nice little warm-up activity, explain how to do it, how you might progress it, using your step initiative. And then obviously each activity is getting progressively harder, followed off then at the end by activity 4, which is usually a game based around that skill itself. So this is going to be a resource that is going to help you for about 6 sessions in full, and also 1 session for developing the skills itself. So again, look, if you're stuck for a session someday, why not have a look at this? Create a session using it, whether you want to use a mix of different ones or use the ones that we've done. These can help you out of a hole at any stage. So again, look, we'll get all these sessions out to you in due course. Then we're moving on. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with this, the activity planner. Again, look, you're going to have to create a profile for this, but I would highly recommend creating the profile. When you create your profile, you don't just get access to the activity planner. There's also going to, you'll see tomorrow in a link that will give you access to all the resources from the coach's point of view that the GA have on their website. And again, on this, once you have a profile created, you can create your sessions, which you can see in the top right corner, in there, create a session, and then you can print it off and bring it to the field with you, or even have a look at it on your phone before you go onto the pitch. So in theory, we all have time at the minute before we get back up and running. I think it'd be a great opportunity, especially for anyone that's only starting off coaching, especially at this age group, to create a profile, go in and start creating various different sessions. Along the left-hand side, you can see there's little filters where you select your age, your grade. Underneath that then is the likes of games you want to do. So you have condition games are shown there. You can do fun activities, fundamentals, there's drills, skills, and it can all be tailored for hurling, football, handball, and rounders. Again, I think there's could be 2,000 different activities on this, all age appropriate activities. It's really, really, really a good resource that you could use as coaching. This is another resource then we're going to send out to you again. It's from the Leinster GAA website itself. Again, look, you can have a choice of child resources, which is the one that will cover the 7 to 9 year old. Within that, then it gives you various different sessions that you can use, different drills, skills, and activities. Again, by all means, worth its weight in gold again for anyone that may need help just to plan a session or create something different. Another initiative that Paul has helped spearhead, it's the Wicklow GA Coaching and Games Development YouTube page, and again that link will be forwarded out to you. But on this, there's going to be constant update of different material for different ages. As you can see in that kind of just snip already, we have primary school activities going on there each week, for various different age groups. Again, look, you can see the second one in that one there. It's for junior and senior infants, which is probably cover your 7s and 9-year-olds. And again, there's 4 sessions that up at a minute, 15 sessions. You could take little pieces off those and add them into your session. So again, you won't be stuck for any of the materials there on that one. Another big aspect then of the TURAS initiative is made up of 3 steps. So again, you tend to workshop the webinar, which is this one here tonight. Then we go to the club to assist with a session. So we go out, meet the coaches, and assist the coaches in running the session. So we don't necessarily take the full session. Go out, talk to them, see what they need, help them out, and then hopefully we get back to you with a second club visit, and we just kind of observe the session and give feedback to the coach around that session. So that's all what we're hoping to do, and again, that's going to be all dependent on when we get back onto the pitches and stuff like that. So I was probably just a little bit quicker flying through that, so if there's any questions